Welcome back to What's Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a Bishop, the Tier 5 British SPG. It's located on the east spawn of Airfield under the command of M5 Multitronic Unit. And as many of you may know, M5 Multitronic Unit comes from Star Trek. Yes, so I think the player is a Star Trek fan, or a Trekker, or a Trekkie, whichever way you want to put it. He likes Star Trek. It was Dr. Richard Daystrom who came up with the M5 Multitronic Unit, the computer that took over the Enterprise against Captain Kirk's will, and actually then went haywire and started doing naughty things. Yes, and this Arty, which is based on the Valentine tank, has a very short range gun, the 4.5-inch howitzer, which is capable of doing a fair bit of damage, 450 hit points of damage, and penetrating 28mm of armour. And at tier 5 that would be fairly easy, because most of the tier 5 tanks do have fairly thin armour, but this isn't tier 5, this is a tier 6 game with tier 5 tanks in it. Now, in actual fact, the Bishop was a bit of a stopgap when it came to generating an Arty. The British really didn't have that much in the way of artillery pieces, and that building's in the way, so he's actually had to open the range to shoot over the building. He's firing around ahead of that Excelsior, and he takes him out with that shot. One shot, smack on target, lovely leading shot. It's got a quick reload as well, rounds out the Panzer 4H, and he takes him down too. Now, it does have fantastic accuracy, very quick reload, but only a short range on this Arty, so you do need to get your shots accurately on target. And you have to get fairly close to the enemy. Fires, pulls back, M4A1. Try not to pull back when you shoot, because we want to see what happens to the shell. I know that's what M5 actually tends to do. He fires, pulls back to see what happens. It actually does affect your aim, because if you pull back like that, you adjust the aim, it increases the size of the reticule. But this Arty does have a fairly quick Arty to dial in. Oh, he just took out the M4A1, and we missed that because he pulled away too quickly after he fired that last shot. Yes, so he's got his third kill, but if you pull away like that too far, you don't get to see what happened, and that's half the fun, seeing what happens to the enemy tanks when they get hit. I have counselled other Arty players not to pull back, because if you do, you ruin the game, you ruin the replay, because nobody can see what happens. Yes, you do get the results screen saying, oh, you've killed this tank or that tank, but you don't get the pleasure of actually seeing the enemy tank blow up when it gets hit. He fires around in at the T67, and again, we don't see what actually happened to the shell, but it probably hit the rock face. He can't see the T67 now. He's loaded, he fires another one in and pulls away almost so you can't see what happened to the shell there. Well, the KV-2 is now one shot, very low on hit points, one round in, and that one takes him out of the game, and we nearly didn't see that kill at all because he pulled away so far. And the T-14's a one shot too, lines up the shot, fires the round in, and that's a kill. So 5 kills, he's one short of a Top Gun, but he's not really letting us see the kills because he's pulling away too far. And I think I did give a warning to some other players or another player who actually did the same sort of thing. If you keep pulling away like that and we can't see the action, then we'll have to seriously reconsider actually doing replays, because there's no point in doing a replay if we can't see what's going on. You see, missed the T67, but we didn't see why he missed the T67. We just saw the shell in the distance do nothing. We didn't see if the T67 dodged the shell or if the shell didn't land at the aim point. T67 wants to go up that rise, but he knows that if he does, he's going to get hit. And the KV-2 is now being hit by enemy Arty. And the enemy Arty is also a Fifi in this game. That's the 105 FH 18B2. He fires one range round in and again pulls back. So far we can't see what's going on, so this will be my red card to M5 Multitronic unit. You're going to have to stop doing that, otherwise we won't be doing your replays anymore. T67's pulled up and he fires the round in. Now we got to see that kill, and that's his top gun. We actually got to see it because he pulled away at the last moment, jerked around and then came back to the spot, and we saw the shell going in. Sometimes it's fun just to see the shell actually land inside the cockpit of a T67 or an open top cockpit tank. I've seen Hellcats taken out that way, and it's pretty satisfying if an accurate Arty shot can land like that right inside, kill all the crew members, wipes out the vehicle. All of the enemy are too far away for Multitronic to fire at the moment. The M5, he's having to move to get closer. And I think a lot of players who come into Arty, if they're going to start off with the Bishop as their first Arty, they're going to find it very difficult to play this Arty. And of course, since Wargaming have moved all the tier 2 to tier 4 Arty into the collectors tab, if this is the first Arty they play, they're going to find it very, very difficult at all. That T40 was well outside the range circle of this Arty. You can see the rescuer was getting flattened. He's now within range, but only just. He's at maximum range. He fires a round out and no, just lands to one side. T150 is well within range, but he's waiting for the reload. Puts the shell target on the rescue on target, hits the tank. I think he tracked him there. Pretty sure he tracked him. Yes, he did track him. He's picked up some track damage. Rounds out, and he pulls to one side. We don't see what happens to that shell because he pulled away too quickly. He's only got 11 rounds of ammunition left. There's still two enemies out there. He fires around at the Skoda. The Skoda pulls forward just at that moment. He's playing with that T50 and he comes around the corner and wipes him out. And the Skoda is a premium medium. Now he's out of sight of that T40. The T40 doesn't know he's here. Hasn't felt his shell yet. T150's gone up to try and kill the tanks in the cap circle and gets wiped out in return. That's 7 kills. One short of getting the Radleys. Can he get it? Well, the Matilda's been reset. Fires around in. Just misses the Skoda. Waiting for the reload to go through. The Skoda pulls forward, but our Death Toaster's in the cap circle. That shot missed. He's now down to 6 rounds of ammunition. Skoda's going to do a peek and boom. Rounds out. Just missed again. Nearly hits our own teammate there. And the Death Toaster goes down. It's 1-on-1 now with the Skoda. And the Skoda's coming straight towards us. He fires a round in. Hits the target. Now the Skoda's obviously hunting now for M5. And M5, well, I think he's going to go defensive now. He's been badly damaged, so he's a one-shot. But all that M5 needs to do now is find a position so he can ambush the Skoda the moment he sees him. The 4.5-inch gun in shotgun mode is very lethal. I've taken down heavy tanks with 2 shots from a shotgun position. Admittedly, that was a tier 5 heavy that I took down, but it was a big surprise for the tank driver because he thought he was in a heavy tank and he was impregnable, but I got 2 penetrating shots right in his face, and there's the Skoda behind him, and unfortunately he's on a rise, which makes it difficult for him to turn round. Oh, and the Skoda's going to get a shot and he fires in. Now we're dialed in. Will he try another one? He will, and that's a kill, and that wins the game with a Radley Waters. And wasn't it so satisfying to see that round strike the enemy tank and take him out to win the game? Arty against premium medium? Yeah, Arty wins. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. Unsurprisingly, that was only a first class tanker for a Bishop winning a tier 5 game. and being the last one alive in the battle. He picked up a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 7. He got a Radley Waters medal for killing at least 8 enemy tanks. He managed it with that last shot, and he also got a Top Gun for killing at least 6 enemy tanks in that game, but no high caliber, unfortunately. Let's have a look at the team score and see why not. Well, the reason he didn't pick up the high caliber was because the Skoda managed to get there before him. He got 2,395 hit points of damage, picked up a high caliber, a Top Gun, and a Defender for resetting the cap. When it came to when it came to M5 Multitronic unit, he got 1,170, which is the fourth highest damage rather, after the M10 RBFM on the enemy team with 1,250 and their T67 with 1,241. He did get the highest number of kills in the game, no doubt about that. 8 kills, next highest scorer being the Skoda T40 with 6. And he also managed to get the highest base XP with 820, 702 to the KV2, and then 673 to the Skoda T40. He fired 29 rounds in that game. He got 13 direct hits, no penetrations, but 19 splash. Damage of 1,170 hit points, of which 1,079 were at more than 300 meters. He received 1 hit. It was from that Skoda T40. It did penetrate the armor, I'm afraid. He fired at exactly the right spot to actually get the shell into the target. Normally, most people will fire at the hull. They auto-aim onto the Valentine, or the Bishop rather, which has got a Valentine hull. And the Valentine hull is very, very strong. And so normally when they auto-aim on, their shell's actually blocked by armor. But if they actually aim for the cockpit around the top, around the gun, the casement around the gun, that's a very thin, weak shield. And that's how you actually penetrate one of those very easily. 8 enemy vehicles damaged, 8 killed, and 181 hit points of damage assistance. He earned 18,540 credits from the game, and after repair and ammunition resupply, still took away 19,354 credits. So obviously there was something there that compensated for that amount there, because that figure there is more than that one. He also managed to get 820 XP, times 2 for the first victory. He got 2,460 from personal missions payout and took away 4,920 experience points altogether. So a very good game for M5 Multitronic unit, though. He needs to work on that aiming thing where he fires and pulls away at the last moment, because he's actually denying us a view of the battle. It's like, you know, if I was to just fire in third person all the time and not to actually show you the battle, and all you saw was the shells going off from the vehicle into the distance and then something coming back at the bottom of the screen saying, oh, you killed him, I think a lot of people would find that very boring and they would stop watching. And so to avoid our viewers actually saying, well, isn't that rather boring, just firing and then pulling away so you don't actually see what happens, we'd ask our players, you know, please stay with the target, shoot at the target. If you have to move, but to avoid counter battery, but by all means do watch to see what happens to the shot, because otherwise you make Arty even more boring than some people say it is already. Of course, I don't think it's boring because I'm an Arty player and I love Arty, but tank players, if they can't actually see what happens in the battle, they'd be immediately switched off by it and they'd say, well, there's no point in watching something where you can't actually see the action. But apart from that, good game. He did win, and he certainly did it against that Skoda. I don't think the Skoda realised how powerful and how accurate this gun can be if you're fully dialed in on target, and he certainly was, and took that Skoda out easily with one shot. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel, please. And thank you for watching.